So today on Learning with Langston, I'm going to discuss a couple parenting classes that I've been a part of, one in particular, the most recent one, for parents with children with ASD or autism spectrum disorder. And I'm also going to, just at the end, show you a few things that he loves to do this spring and summer, and all of the play activities that are his favorite things to do include some type of sensory stimulation, like a kinesthetic stimulation involving more than one sense. So, like touch and sight, or sight and sound, etc. So, I'll just show you some little sequences of those things at the end, but let's get into the parenting class information. So it's been a little while since I posted a video of Learning with Langston, but Langston is growing and developing and learning so much. He actually has a movie on right now, so he'll probably be a little distracted looking up at that. One of his other favorite things to play with is a tape measure, which is perfectly safe. It's just an actual seamstress's tape measure. So he likes to look at the numbers and all the little measurements on the tape measure. So anyway, I just wanted to kind of share some things that I've been learning lately. Langston has been going to an ABA therapy program, which is applied behavior analysis, and they collect a lot of data from his time there. And also there's a parenting class that's a part of that. And I've been taking the parenting class, and I also took another parenting class that was called Circle of Security, and that really, I wasn't able to actually finish that one because this other one started on top of it. But I really appreciate both of those parenting classes, because I think that anytime a parent has a kid with any kind of special needs, any sort of diagnosis that is not neurotypical, I think that it's just so helpful to be able to hear from other parents similar experiences that just really normalize what you're going through, and also just to kind of hear from experts, of course, on strategies and methodologies that really work for teaching new skills, and for functional communication. So the two things that I really want to focus on today are functional communication and teaching new skills, which I've been learning about through this parenting class. And I'll show you the parenting course textbook cover real quick. So, functional communication for a kid like Langston who's nonverbal really includes a lot of gestures as well as physical input. Like, I'm kind of tapping him right now, and that makes him feel secure. He will come up to me or another trusted adult and take my hand or an adult's hand and lead. He communicates by leading as well as through gestures. And recently he started the PECS program, which is a picture exchange communication system, and he's been doing really well in that. He's at phase 2 right now in that, learning how to distinguish between pictures. So he's gotten really good at just handing a picture of the item that he wants to communicate, but he's now learning how to kind of like pay attention to the pictures a little bit more and then pick which one he wants to hand. But meanwhile, while doing that, because it happens to be kind of time intensive for him, he also has started to say some words. So the point, of course, is just to have functional communication, whether it's verbal or nonverbal. But to make it substitute for something like screaming or disruptive behavior, like biting or pinching or something like that that's not functional and isn't communicating specifically, then the communication method has to be easy. It has to work every time, and kind of has to be something that you can generalize in all situations. So for Langston, the picture exchange system works at ABA therapy, and it works with me because I understand it, but that, for example, isn't going to work with his older brother, Franklin, because Franklin hasn't been trained in PECS. And he doesn't have patience for it. So it's something that doesn't work in every situation for him right now. And I think that kind of is encouraging him to formulate words. So right now he's kind of frustrated with me talking because it's overpowering his movie audio. But anyways, the functional communication, again, the things that really helped me were that it has to be something quick and easy, and it has to be easier than whatever they're doing, like screaming or biting or pinching or, whatever disruptive behavior. And then it also has to be something that you can implement in a wide variety of places and with a wide variety of people. So we're working on the picture exchange system. If he becomes verbal during the process of learning that, then that'll just kind of like fall to the wayside. If he doesn't become verbal through that process, then we might move toward, or his SLP might move him toward the tablet communication system. But Langston definitely communicates. He is very bright. He knows what he wants, and he's very patient as well, but he will communicate. It's just that it's not functional or universal for everybody. I know what he needs and wants and what he means, but a lot of people wouldn't understand some of his gestures that he makes, or they wouldn't work in all settings. So, yeah. The other thing is teaching new skills, which one of the skills, of course, is using the picture exchange system, but another skill is waiting. So I know that right now he wants me to stop doing this video because he's kind of wants just the audio from his movie. But if I just kind of like pat him and reassure him that mommy will be all through soon, he's gotten a lot better at waiting, and he was not good at waiting at all. In fact, we had to do the chaining method, which sounds like really horrific at first, but it's not. Don't worry, it doesn't involve chains or anything crazy. It's just building the skill into really small pieces. So basically take like links in a chain. So we had to take waiting and break it into 5 seconds, then 10 seconds, then 15 seconds, and move from there. So essentially anything like brushing teeth or just any skill, putting on clothes, opening a door, everything can be broken down into really small little steps, and you don't move forward in the chaining method until the step is mastered. So you can also do backward chaining, where you start at the end of the step and learn backward, and you complete all the previous steps for the kid, and then let them complete the last step and then the second to last step, and so forth, as they master those if they're getting hung up on the forward method. So anyway, we had to chain backward for PECS, for the picture exchange communication system, and that worked. We chained forward for the waiting, and now he can wait, and he will like find things to do, whether it's watch a movie or play with a toy or go outside. He'll find things to do for up to like 1 or 2 hours if I'm really busy, either braiding or cooking or cleaning or doing whatever, he'll kind of figure out that mom isn't available and therefore he needs to find something else to do. So he's really mastered that, and it clicked for him at about 15 seconds. So we did 5 seconds, and that was the hardest step, was the first step. But then once that step was mastered, 10 seconds and 15 seconds were not as hard to learn as that first 5 seconds of just wait 5 seconds, like I can't do this right now for you. So it took him a little bit to really understand that, and then now he's really great at waiting and being patient. Aren't you, Langston? Aren't you? So we've really learned a lot in the class. I know that not everybody has the accessibility or availability in their area for taking a class or going to ABA therapy. And sometimes, even with neurotypical kids, there's a disruptive behavior that you might want to interrupt or teach some new skills to, or functional communication to kind of reroute the kid from that disruptive behavior and phase out that disruptive behavior so that it's no longer kind of wrecking the vibe of the household. So, but yeah, Langston has been doing really great, and we're really happy about all of his progress. And it does also require, though, a lot of learning on the part of the parent and everybody in the household for what the kid is going through, and just learning how his fascinating little mind works, because he's very visual and he really responds well to physical input and visual input, but verbal input or like modeling something, doing something in front of him, he doesn't necessarily learn from that as quickly as the visual or physical input. So one of the things for learning a new skill that we haven't actually ever done blocks before. We haven't taught him this, but in teaching a new skill like this, of course it'd be best if he wasn't distracted, but like the physical input of taking his hand and putting that block on is going to be more memorable for him. Can you put it on now? We're building Legos. Push. Good job. Is more memorable for him than if I was to just take it and do it in front of him. He would just be like, okay, cool, that's what you did. But he wouldn't necessarily copy. He's not a copycat. So teaching him by hand over hand input and visual input, like we're gonna do the red blocks together and the yellow blocks together is always just more successful for him than doing the modeling or just verbally telling him things to do. So I'll continue to just post some little updates on learning with Langston, because I'm learning a lot, and I'm actually learning so much that sometimes it's really hard for me to even know what to put in a video for an update, because I get to be to the point where I've read so many articles or books or taking these classes, and just trying to condense it down into a couple quick things that somebody else might be able to really utilize and appreciate is hard, because there's just so much information on autism, and just teaching kids with ASD, and kids with ASD don't necessarily just automatically generalize from one situation to another situation the same skill. They don't automatically just, learn skills in the same way that neurotypical kids learn skills. So it's like learning how to parent all over again in some ways. And in other ways, I see a lot of, there are some similarities for sure. Do you have the hiccups of things that Langston does that Franklin, for example, did when he was a kid? Like running all the time. He's super active and has never been fat ever since he could walk. He's run off all of his baby fat ever since he has learned how to walk. So yeah, just some things that we've been learning. So I hope that's helpful, and I'm going to share the resources for just the references for the books that you can maybe get that might help you as well. So I know that he was diagnosed really young when he was 2, and not every kid has the chance to get that early diagnosis, which is super preferable. But I'm really happy that he was, because now we've been to 3 programs. He's had speech therapy, occupational therapy, then he's had a developmental preschool program, and now his 3rd program is the ABA, Applied Behavior Analysis program. So Nala has to get in the mix too. The kitty, say hi to the kitty. She gets jealous if I'm holding Langston because she wants to do what he's doing. And he does not like to be next to her that much. They're kind of like little tiny siblings in a way. But yeah, so I hope that there's somebody out there who maybe you're wondering if your kid has just sensory processing issues or if they're somewhere on the spectrum. And just know that there's a lot of help. There are a lot of resources available, not just locally, but nationally and globally as well. And it really does help. Some of the steps and processes do take a lot of time, and so there's a huge commitment on the parent's part, especially if you're a single parent like me. It's a huge time commitment and lots of patience building. So you will become a more patient person as a parent of a kid with ASD. So I hope that this helps in some small way, and we will return for another episode of Learning with Langston shortly. So this is Langston's beginner's little PECS binder, and it has little laminated pictures of things that he likes that are motivating to him to kind of do the program with. He likes water and popcorn and hash browns and all these things. He especially likes the hammock, so that's his major reinforcer, and we've been working on weighting. So you can, we're up to 2 pictures right now, but you can continue to add them as the child continues to be able to discriminate between pictures. Just get another Velcro circle and put it on the back of the next picture. I'm going to do one here. This is for cocoa or chocolate, which he loves chocolate. So anyway, you can keep adding to the selection after the child learns to actually use the system. And then at some point they can just kind of go through their binder and pick out the pictures of the things that they want to do or want to eat, or activities or items or actions that they want, like being held. The weighting, of course, is not something that he's going to want, but it's something that I want him to learn as a skill, so I added that into the system.
6, 7.
So I'm showing you here, and you can hear in the background, I'm just counting. I'm swinging him 10 times, and then I'm using the PECS system. I'm just kind of showing how it works. He takes the picture of the hammock, and to request to be swung more, he hands it to me.
Okay.
And I'm verbalizing to him kind of what he's communicating, but at some point the picture system, exchange communication system, is supposed to work just by itself, and that doesn't isn't something that's necessary to continue to verbalize what they're doing or what they're handing you. So I'm sometimes I don't do that at all. I'm doing it just for the purpose of this exercise of showing you what he's doing. So he's, again, handing me the little picture, and then I swing him 10 times, and I intentionally stop the swing so that he has to hand me the picture again, like saying more. So beside the PECS system and the hammock and some of those things that he likes, Langston just really loves fun outdoor activities in the spring and summer. And here I'm just spinning him upside down. He thinks that this is super fulfilling just to be upside down. He even likes to just be held upside down. He also really enjoyed this little pod swing. Unfortunately, it got kind of gross with the sprinklers hitting it all the time, and birds were pooping on it and stuff, so we kind of had to take it out of the yard. But it did work for a little while, and he really enjoyed that before we moved on to the hammock. And we found a really cool kind of camping hammock on Amazon, and it's thin nylon, and so it works really well because it's super easy and quick to clean. It dries really fast, and I have a little play mat underneath of it when I'm swinging him. So you can see how happy he is. He also loves water balloons and bubbles and his pool and just all the things that are part of summer fun outdoors. So we'll see you again next time on Learning with Langston.